Hi, there was so much I wanted to share with you in this article, but it wouldn't all fit. So instead, I created 2 video clips to accompany the article. In the second clip, which is this one, I share with you some learning extensions to the task. In the previous clip, I already shared some of the task design decisions. Here are some mathematical ideas built into the task. Now, while I had to close the task in some respects to allow for wonder to develop, I also opened it mathematically in other respects. The main idea about proportional reasoning was already shared in the article, so I won't go into more detail here. In the last clip, I also shared a really neat designed aspect of the task that helps students experience the value of experience. That part had to do with the warning I mentioned in the article. That warning is actually a hint to the paradox. But students do not connect the warning to the paradox because they actually don't experience it, because I only told them about it. In the design of the task, I could have let students explore right then at that first instance when they do the calculations, when they would have encountered the misconception for the first time. But when I tested this design, students did not experience wonder at the paradox. So instead, I chose to warn the students by telling, and then at the end, after they experience wonder, connect their learning by experience to learning by telling. Place value in zeros can also be a learning outcome for this task. You will notice that some cards have averages that work out to 1 decimal place, like Keisha Swing, and others that are longer. In these cases, in the classroom, we always discuss the role of zeros and decimals and how to decide how many places after the decimal are needed. We ask questions like, why does baseball even use 3 places after the decimal to report on batting averages? In that regard, there is a special affordance for rounding and deciding upon places after the decimal. 2 cards, Andy Grandy and Farhad Bogues, can both have the same average against right-handed batters, unless you use 3 spaces after the decimal. For 2 spaces, they have the same average, but not for 3 spaces. This leads to really nice discussions. Rounding decimals is everywhere in this task and can be discussed at almost any point. Another idea that is inherent to the task, because the students convert fractions to decimals, is why do we even need to use fractions? And why do we need to use decimals? And when might we want to use fractions? And when might we want to use decimals? And the discussion around these questions always leads to percents and the relationship between percents, decimals, and fractions. Another idea that comes up is number properties. Because there is an odd number of cards and the 2 orderings are opposite, 1 card always remains in the same place. In this case, Farhad remains 3rd in both instances of ordering. Every time I use this activity, each group recognizes a new mathematical aspect. The last group I taught had a discussion about common denominators and different ways to add fractions. They got there because they recognized that decimals were really like common denominators. I'd be very curious to learn the new big ideas that your classes have learned as a result of this task. I've shared my email address below and would welcome any comments and sharing of big ideas. Thank you.